Hey, good morning. I'm showing 0700. We'll get started with today's operational briefing for the Dixie incident for July 23rd, 2021. If you can do me a favor, silence your cell phones. Keep all side conversations outside the briefing area so everybody gets a good briefing. We'll get started with the operational update.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. So anyways, last night was a little bit rough along with yesterday. This fire stood up, did some things we didn't expect it to do. We had multiple spots outside the line. Obviously had what they're calling a new start, the fly fire. So a lot of our resources had to be pulled to that in order to help them mitigate the problem. So as you can see, the fire's been zoned. Basically from right over here down to here is the base camp is out of Quincy now. The feds will be running that, but we'll be working together because obviously it's the same incident. Down in branch 1, the divisions have changed. They're hard to see. Apologize for that. We'll try to make them bigger tomorrow. I'll point them out for you. Division Alpha and Bravo and Charlie are all looking good. Charlie still has some hot stuff along the line. They're working, but Alpha and Bravo, they're starting to pull the hose, see what they can backhaul in there and get that taken care of. Working up into Hotel and Juliet. Fire continues to push out to the west. They're still trying to build dozer line in there so they can capture this thing. It just keeps spotting outside their lines, giving them fits during the day, so they're trying to mitigate that now. Working up into branch 10, which is Division Lima and Mike and November. Fire's still pushing to the north, but we have a plan in place. We're going to go up Highway 89. They're blowing that open with processors right now and skidders, and then we're going to try to pre-treat the line there, and then working across 36. 32 will not be used. We're going to try to go up on top of what's called Lassen Trail. It's held 4 fires so far, so there's already a dozer line up there. We're going to blow that open, get that taken care of, and then mitigate that problem as far as Chester and West Almanor. And then obviously in Mike in November, they're continuing to find areas of opportunity so they can connect the dots up to Canyon Dam. Make it a safe shift.
Thank you. Moving on to the incident objectives, starting with the management objectives. Utilize the risk management process to identify and mitigate hazards to protect firefighters and the public. Emphasize strategies and tactics that have the highest probability of success and the least exposure to firefighters and the public. Develop strategies to protect property, communities, businesses, and infrastructure. Employ tactics that fulfill these strategies while being mindful of the necessity for contingency and emergency plans. Ensure strategies account for incident priorities, applying resources to those with the highest consequences first. Follow COVID-19, CDC, and establish local, state, and federal guidance to limit the virus spread within the incident and the surrounding communities near the fire area. Provide timely and continuous incident information to affected agency partners, cooperators, California Team 2, as well as the public. Maintain fiscal accountability and keep costs commensurate with values at risk. Control objectives. Keep the fire north of the fire perimeter and Highway 162. Keep the fire south of Highway 36 and Highway 89. Keep the fire east of Highway 32. And keep the fire west of Highway 89 and Highway 70. Fire weather.
Good morning, Julia Ruthford with Fire Weather. So for today, we're looking for another very critical combination of fire weather conditions. We've got extremely dry air aloft. It's already been impacting the ridges, and we're going to see that continuing to mix down to the fire area this afternoon and evening. Other piece is going to be even hotter than it was yesterday, so we're looking at another 3 to 5 degrees warmer. So hot conditions, dry conditions, still very unstable conditions up at the ridges right now, and as we get into the afternoon and evening, we'll see that getting more widespread across the fire. Similar sort of timing on that as yesterday, where we see the west and south portions of the fire get clear of the smoke first, and the instability taking more effect in early afternoon. And then the north and east portions, about 1400 to start seeing some of the smoke clearing, and the instability by mid to late afternoon there. But still extremely unstable, extremely dry. Relative humidities this afternoon, we're looking at them to drop between about 5 and 8% over quite a bit of the fire area. Winds, we're going to see the normal southwest winds push up the valley. We'll be seeing gusts in the 20 to 25 mile an hour range out of those. Also, as you get further west here, this drainage that's to the northwest of the fire, this is another area that those southwest winds, you'll see the frequent gusts of 20 to 25, especially up on the ridges and following that drainage. Over here on the northeast side, more of a southeast wind up Butte Valley Reservoir, and then the continued really swirly, convergent, battling winds in the deeper portions of the drainage is here. And following that hot, dry, unstable, and breezy day, we're looking for continued really poor humidity recoveries at night. Hot temperatures in the valley are going to cause the nighttime winds to be more enhanced than we've seen in a while, so the downslope, down valley winds are going to get breezier. Those will be channeling down Feather River here. As you get up into the northwest area, Division Juliet, Division Lima, these drainages all channel down towards Lake Elmendorf, so this will be continued southwest wind, with that being their down valley wind. As you go further to the south, these drainages channel south, so this will be more of a north to northeast wind. Peak winds in the Jarbo Gap area, 25 to 30. Other drainage winds won't be quite that strong, but they're going to still be a lot breezier than you're used to. So both a really challenging day and night coming up. Have a good shift.
Thank you very much. Fire behavior.
Good morning, Sean Norman. I'll give you a fire behavior forecast. I'm going to start really in the areas that are going to be most impacted. In Branch 5, you can have some potential spotting still in there and some rollout. You guys have some cleanup to do, so recognize that with those low humidities, anything that's been sitting out in one of those dry logs will be available to come to life. Moving around into Branch 10. As we transition into Branch 10, we're going to see a big mixture between the higher elevation up above Humboldt Summit of brush, and then as we drop back down in the valleys, heavy old-growth timber that's got a lot of dead and down component. We do have some incidents of blowdown up there when we've had extreme winds over the winter months, so that has an effect on that. So your fuel loading is very high in some of that country in there. As we transition over, we're starting to get into an interesting area there. That Butte Creek and down towards Yellow Creek is going to drain wind back towards Lake Almanor at night. So your down canyon wind there will be burning alternate to what you would expect. It is not going to dump towards the Sacramento Valley, but rather the other direction. So expect that potential to have very erratic winds during the day, and then a down canyon wind at night potentially pushing itself back out and draining into the Almanor Basin. If we end up out towards Highway 32, that is a mini Feather River Canyon, has a significant channeling effect that will drive fire down canyon all night long, down towards the valley. So that is a very significant component, extremely steep and inaccessible terrain with very unpredictable weather. Coming around into the Almanor Basin, smoked out in there much of the day. Once the column lifts, it's going to run and want to spot on you. The last thing I want to leave you with is understand that we've given you a weather forecast and a fire behavior forecast. We're telling you what we expect to happen. The models are going to show the fire doing all sorts of crazy things. And that, remember, the models don't take into account suppression and don't always take into account long-range spotting. So we're giving you that warning right now. What I can't have is you guys be surprised by this. You can't walk out there and say, how did this happen? What we're telling you is it most likely is going to happen. So have your PACE model all the way down to that tailboard firefighter in place on how you're going to execute today, and base all your actions off observed and forecasted fire behavior. Have a good shift.
Thank you. Operational work assignments.
Good morning, Merrick Fields, Operations for Incident Management Team 1. I want to reiterate a couple of things. It's happened to us several times on this incident. This thing is moving faster than anybody is thinking it's going to. When it wants to get up and go, it's going to get up and go. So from about noon on, anticipate when that air clears out, Watch that column start to develop, and it's going to start moving, and it's going to start spotting way out in front of itself, and then the main fire is going to catch up to that. So be heads up when you're out there. So down in the Division Alpha, Bravo, Charlie, same thing. Alpha, Bravo, Charlie is the same chunk of ground from yesterday. That's all pretty much patrol and mop up. We've got some backhaul stuff down in there in that bottom end. We need to start getting some of those unnecessary items that are out there on the line back into camp. And Division Alpha goes all the way up into the town of Belden. So up in the town of Belden and all of those structures in there, we need to be doing good mop up in around those houses. Moving up into Division Charlie sorry, we've reorged the map and they're hiding the division breaks. So in Charlie and Hotel, that piece that's been really fighting us yesterday or the last couple of days up there above what used to be Quebec, we got around that. We got that. We held it yesterday. We didn't have any spots in there. We need to get back in there and keep beating on that piece and put it to bed. From there on, things are going to change on us. This thing's outpacing us, so we're going to go with the big box. So from the branch break in here, we're going to start working that out towards Butte Meadows. We've got a road system established. We're working on that, prepping that indirect fire line. We're going to take it up around Jonesville. And then unfortunately, we're probably going to have to go out to the ridge line there above 32 that we've held multiple fires on and bring that all the way back around. So for the most part, all of the work in Branch 10 is going to be out there opening up the primary lines and prepping all of those for a potential firing operation. But in addition to all of that, we still have the Highway 70 and the Almanor Contingency Group. Those are our surge resources. Wherever we need to move them around to, we're going to do that. Yesterday, we sent the surge resources over to the New Start and help them with that. So we have those scattered out in there. Thank you. Have a safe shift.
Branch and division, roll call.
Good morning, BJ Corey, Resource Unit Leader with Team 1. This will be the branch and division roll call for the West Zone. So branches and divisions, as you hear your name, please stand face to back so everybody can see and hear you clearly. And we'll get started with branch 1. Farrell.
Brian Farrell here.
Division Alpha, height.
There.
Bravo is Pindell and Main trainee. Division Charlie has been moved into branch 5, so we'll cover that shortly. Railroad group is Cario.
Here.
Highway 70 group is White.
Here.
Branch 5, Costa.
Here.
And Vance.
Here.
Now Division Charlie has moved into branch 5, and that is Jones.
Here.
Division Hotel has a change. It is no longer Jones or Hagen. It is Kenyon.
Here.
Division Juliet has moved to branch 10. We'll cover that in branch 10. And we'll move on to branch 10, Norman.
Here.
And Jerry.
Here.
Division Juliet, Stornetta.
Here.
Conity.
Here.
Division Lima, Edson.
Here.
And Hale.
Here.
Division Mike, Aragon.
Here.
Lake Almanor Group, Horton.
Here.
West Contingency, Gee.
Here.
North Contingency, Johnson.
Here.
Gabriel trainee.
Here.
And then we have Silver Dollar Staging, Riley.
Here.
Thank you, everybody. Have a safe shift.
Air operations.
Good morning. Matt Hill, Air Operations, CAL FIRE Team 1. For this morning on fixed wing, we'll have air attack and ASM along with a couple S2s and a couple LATs when it's clear air. Rotor wing will have Helco up early. We have 18 Type 1 water droppers. We have 6 Type 2 water droppers, and then we have 8 Type 3s to assist. For night hoist, ALS, Guard A22 is on deck. For day hoist, 0 Delta Foxtrot. We have 2 UAS aerial ignition modules available, and those are the only UAS that are authorized to fly over the fire. Please monitor air-to-ground command for divisions and above. And then everyone else, air to ground TAC. Please make it a safe shift and make sure you have clear and concise communication on air to ground.
Okay, real quick. So far on the incident, we have 230 trainees registered working on task books. If you are here and want to get credit for your training assignment, make sure you go into the check-in area, check in with the training specialist, and get registered for this assignment. Communications.
I'm Tom Webb, Communications Unit Leader. For you guys that haven't seen it yet, today is the clone day. I know the cloning every day is a bit of an inconvenience, but that's just the way it's going to be, as this fire is very dynamic. Plan on that happening for at least your next few shifts until we stabilize some things. We did get our repeater system fully up and linked yesterday after we were able to fly in and change some switches on a few things. So please take note of the map and where the repeaters are and where you should be, which repeater you should be using for what area you're in. Also remember the good etiquette of looking at that mountaintop to try to when you're talking to it. So down on the bottom side, you're going to be using Bald Mountain, CDF or NIFC Command 56. One thing on the map, the CDF or Command 10, the NIFC Command 10 is not there anymore. We didn't get that off the map yesterday. So the wagon wheel really illustrates which repeaters should work well in the area. So take a look at that before you leave. Branch 5, Colby, NIFC 47. Up in the Branch 10 area, Dyer, NIFC 57. Those are all the ones, the repeaters we have in that area. And then don't forget the NIFC C2 for the 70 Canyon area. For the federal side, that's what we're cleaning up today in Branch 20 and 25. That's the big push for today's clone. Over there on their side, PNF admin is what's going to work if you need to talk to them this morning. We're going to try to get those other frequencies built out today once the equipment gets here around 11 o'clock. So get a good clone, be looking at your frequencies. We all know how fluid it is and how we could end up on that side of the fence. So have a plan, look at see what other alternate frequencies work. We're still listening to CDF Command 1. We've got ears on Butte Local, and we're listening to air to ground. Anything that works, we're trying to listen. Thanks, guys.
All right, one quick announcement to follow up with communications. On the cover of the IEP, there's a QR code. If for some reason you end up over in the east zone, scan the QR code, go into the IEP folder and locate the IEP for the east zone. It gives you their full IEP, including their 205 communication plan. Medical.
Good morning, Josh Daly Medical, IMT1 CAL FIRE. Please turn to page 30 in your IEP for the medical plan. On that plan, the line medics in the divisions here, Alpha through Mike, will get a briefing here. On the federal side, we're collaborating with them. They will get a briefing Nora through Zulu. Please take a look as the drop points have changed. We have 4 ambulances. They're all ALS. We have 4x4, but the drop points in your division breakouts know where your closest resource is. The REMs are in Branch 10 and Branch 20, and they will meet during your division breakouts. It was mentioned we still have Oscar Delta Foxtrot for your day BLS hoist and 822 for 24-hour ALS hoist. With that in the plan, it's a complex communications plan. We need you to go over that box 6 in your breakouts. And during the time of an emergency is not the time you want to have your communications fail. Please have a plan before. If we do clear the command channel, you will hear it. Please remain diligent and disciplined until we clear it back to open traffic. During an emergency, we need that channel cleared so we can communicate with the resources and the division on the ground. In this camp and in Westwood, we have CalMat, both staffed with a doctor for treatment and supply. We still have Mert that has a PA. I appreciate you guys being diligent on the radio during an emergency. Have a safe shift.
Safety.
Good morning, Jesse Wooden, IMT1 Safety. As we've been hearing from everybody, division names are changing, branches are changing, lines are changing. Please make sure you know who you're working for, where you're working, know the comm plan, know our East Zone also comm plan, download the IEP, just know where you are and know how to talk to somebody, especially during an IWI. We are handing out IWI cards. We're making 500 a day. The goal in about 6 days, in theory, everybody should be able to have one. Just give us a little time with copy service. We're punching out 500 a day. The fire behavior, fire weather, it's a constant. This thing's getting up and move every day, long responding, laces. Make sure you have your safety zones, know where they are, communicate them, and make sure they're large enough. Please have a safe day. Thank you.
Logistics.
Good morning, Jesse Morris, Logistics. If you could please turn to page 33 in your IP, you'll find our services support schedule for base camp. On page 35 is the CAL FIRE 101 form for items that you may have left on the line. On page 36 is our vehicle repair checklist. Please get familiar with this if you have any mechanical issues and need to call into comms. On page 45 on your IEP, you'll find our facility map with all your logistical needs around camp. And just as a reminder, for all of you that are working in Branch 10, tomorrow morning you'll be reporting to the new camp up in Westwood. They'll be taking care of all your logistical needs up there. Thank you.
Information.
Good morning, Emily Smith, Public Information, IMT1. If you'd like to join me on page 38, I have updated numbers for you that you can fill in those boxes. The current acreage is 142,940 acres at 18% containment, and we have 4,005 personnel assigned. We do appreciate all of you continue to adhere to the federal and CAL FIRE social media policies. And again, if you have any photos or video content that you would like to post, please come by, and we'd also like that too to share to everyone your guys' good work out there. We are receiving some lost items and mail, so please come by the trailer so we could get that back to you. And on this page today, there's 2 additional QR codes. One QR code goes to our current incident update that's released at 7 and 7. As well as there's a QR code at the bottom for our Zoom meeting that we've been having every night at 7 p.m. as well as on CAL FIRE BTU's Facebook. Thank you and have a good day.
Liaison officer.
Hey, good morning. Nate Armstrong, liaison trainee for CAL FIRE Incident Management Team 1. Local government cooperators, we realize you're probably getting close to crew swap times. If you are, please be sure you're communicating those needs early to the OES reps so you can plan accordingly. For all our other cooperators, with the zoning of this fire, Team 2 will be having their cooperators meeting in person at Quincy at 0900 hours. For those of you that have interest in both zones, we will continue to have Team 1's meeting here at 10 a.m. and also available on Zoom. So if you have interest in both zones and need to attend both, please come contact one of us so we can get you that link. Thank you all and have a safe shift.
Law enforcement liaison.
Good morning, Todd Crawford, Law Enforcement Liaison, CAL FIRE IMT1. At this time, we have put a current list of evacuations in your IEP right behind the PIO message. For real-time evacuation maps, please check the Butte County Sheriff's Office website and Plumas County's website for current online evacuation changes. At this point, we've got a warning in the area of Chester. Coming around the Lake Almanor, we have Jonesville in an order, west shore of Lake Almanor in order, and then coming down to Greenville, Taylorsville, Mount Hope, Butterfly Valley, coming down all in order status, and then West Quincy at a warning status. Thank you.
Agency administrator.
Good morning again, everybody. Scott Tangenberg, agency administrator for the Forest Service. This is a much thinner crowd than we had yesterday because half of us are up in Quincy and there's a lot of things going on up there. But I just want to make sure everybody knows, just because there's a federal team up there doesn't mean federal interests don't still exist over here. Our number one interest, as I've reminded you multiple times, is you and your safety. You're here for us. You're doing everything you can to take care of our landscape out here, our communities, and we're eternally grateful for that. But what we're most thankful for is the care that you put in to taking care of yourselves. Do that, make that your top priority. It's going to be a big day, but as long as you're all back here, that's what success looks like. Thank you again. We're here for you, and we're hoping to see you again this evening. Thanks.
Final comments from the Unified Incident Commander.
All right, good morning. You've heard everybody talk about changes, a lot of changes today. Over 140,000 acres, very dynamic fire, very resistant to our control, right? One thing, though, I'm very proud of is that we have had 0 reportable injuries so far, a few minor injuries, and That's what we need to keep up. One thing I want to acknowledge today, 3 years ago today is when the car fire started. We had 8 fatalities on that fire, 4 of which were directly related to the fire personnel working that. We had a PG&E lineman, Jerry Sayeda, a private dozer operator, Donald Ray Smith, fire mechanic, Andrew Brake, and Reading fireman, Jeremy Stoke. Excuse me. I don't want that. I want, when they talk about this historic fire, to be one of the things that they talk about is everybody went home safe. And that's really what it comes down to. There's a lot of timber out there, there's values at risk, but nothing out there, not one thing out there is worth any of you getting hurt, any of you losing your lives. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, a couple announcements before we start moving. If you're not in the IAP, go back to unassigned resources, check in, make sure that you're not on the East IAP, but they have a hard copy back there for looking you up fairly quick. All right, as far as breakout locations, to my left, your right, Division Alpha, Bravo, Charlie, Railroad Group, Highway 70. Along the back wall on the inside, Hotel, Juliet, and Lima. Right here along to my right, your left, Mike, Lake Allamore, West Contingency, and North Contingency. With that, have a safe shift. Turn on your radios and your cell phones.